Hi YouTube, I am Tammy K and welcome to my channel. Today we are painting hydrangeas and here's just a little taste of those little guys. So we're doing the cone-shaped ones as well as the round ones because those do exist. We are using a filbert brush as well and so fun to use, tiny little guy, but gives you those beautiful brush strokes and rounded petal shapes that you're probably craving when you're making hydrangea. Because, you know, we paint hydrangea all the time, right? Anyway, join me as we paint this together and we talk a little bit about how not to paint every day or why that's even important. Alrighty, friends, let's spray down our palette. Get our paints all nice and gushy. And we've got these little guys here. So this is the reference that I'm using. Just some fun hydrangea play that I did the other day. And the brushes I'm going to use today will be this number 6 filbert and number 8 round brush. So we're going to start off by using our filbert. And I like to have these opposite. I don't know, cools on the right, warms on the left. It's just what I'm used to. So grab some water and I'm going to start with a nice light base color. Grabbing some of this pink, a little bit more water. You kind of figure out what consistency you need. We're going to do 2 different blooms. So we're going to start over here and do like a kind of a cone shape hydrangea, which I never had seen before until I moved to Kansas. And apparently this type does really well here. So we've got a lot of those kinds. So what I'm doing is I'm putting those brush strokes down, moving it around, just trying to make that cone shape. And then when I go this side, I have to make this awkward wrist movement because what I want is and when I go downwards, I want the outside of the petal, the tip of the petal to be rounded, and then it comes in and it's that flat part. And so that is why I'm going like this. And I know it looks super weird right now. Like, what am I doing? But as you're putting these really light, pretty light brush strokes down, you're going to leave a lot of white space. And we're just going to keep going like this until we've got the shape that we want for this hydrangea. So cone shape, grab some water now. We leave white, but we also want to fill it in a good amount. So it's just a process. And I like to do the broad side of the brush, of course, but then flip it and then have these tiny little bits poking out. Alrighty. So as we're doing this, you know, the conversation I wanted to have today is just about, you know, we tell ourselves that we need to paint every day to improve our watercolor game. And that's not necessarily true. Now, this probably contradicts some advice that I have given before on this channel. I know it does. But let's get into it. Let's talk about it and what it all kind of means. As we've got this here, we're going to do the same thing over here as we continue our chat. It's going to be a little bit more yellowy, a little more peachy, orangey, whatever. Just kind of grab whatever colors you like on your palette. You can see my palette is a hot mess and I love it. To me, it feels like a work of art. Without me doing anything, it's just coming together. So my big thing is when it comes to painting, you know, I personally love to paint every day. Remember, roundy shape, ball shape. And sometimes I feel anxious because I haven't painted yet. And sometimes I paint because I feel anxious. And that's just how I do things in my life. But as artists, we know we often paint every day. We have to for work. We have to, maybe it's for self-care. Maybe it is work-based. We have deadlines and all the things. But we also encourage you guys to do the same thing. Practice every day. Vary up your brush strokes here. Just keep them all crazy, moving all around. I'm going to make this wider, larger. But we encourage that, right? But is that necessarily good for you? And so what I want you to do is to paint when you want to and be intentional about it. Because if it causes you any stress, like, okay, I have this narrative that I must paint every day, especially to get better. And then if I'm not doing it every day, now I'm feeling stressed about it. Now all of a sudden, painting has become this journey that is horrible. It is It's unlikely I'm going to get better because I don't enjoy that process. I don't enjoy the painting experience because I'm forcing myself. So if you feel like that resonates with you, make sure just to paint when you want to, when you feel like it. And if it's just once or twice a week, hey, guess what? If you weren't painting before, that's once or twice a week more than you were painting in the past. Isn't that great? So just kind of shifting your mindset around that. So I've got this nice little ball shape here. We're going to take our number 8 round and we're going to grab some green from the palette. Sap green, always my go-to. I've got some olive green coming up soon, pretty excited. Also coming up in the mail is what I mean. I'm going to add in some stems. Also, all the supplies are linked, well, description, I guess, letting you guys know what it is. And then there's a link where you can go, my affiliate link, and look on Winsor & Newton. Since all these things have been gifted to me that I'm using today, the paper is 100% cotton cold press and from Winsor & Newton, and then their paints as well as their brushes. Well, this brush, I should say. So anyway, listed below if you're interested in more information. So I'm just going to leave that right now. I do want to add some leaves. So grabbing more of that paint, and we're just going to do a little stem. And then what I want to do here is just some interesting little nodules, basically. So I'm just doing these little lines to create my leaf shape, a little bit of white space, and voila. Let's try it a little bit more on the other side with some green gold. And a little awkward here, but you just do what you can do. All right. So yes, being intentional about your practice and being okay with it, letting yourself know it's okay with me how much time or effort I'm putting into this. Don't put in more if it stresses you out, but if you want to, go for it, if that makes sense. And that's the second part. You know, don't let yourself stress. So I've got some blue in here in this leaf. Yeah, don't let yourself stress out. So if you're stressing out about, you know, how your painting is coming out, well, guess what? You're normal. We all tend to do that, but you got to tell yourself to stop. You got to say, hey, I'm enjoying this. Hey, I'm just practicing. Hey, I'm a beginner, or I'm learning. Anything can be a beginner space, okay, that we are learning. And if I were to do portraits, I always say that. I would be a total beginner, and you would be like, wow, that girl don't know how to paint. It's because I haven't learned how to do them yet. And so I can recognize that that's okay. Everything is a learning process. And I want you guys to tell yourself that. So now we've got those 2 leaves here. I want to balance this out. It's too matchy-matchy. So a nice little leaf coming down right here. Just a flat side, and then like maybe it's folded over. And a little bit of a bumpy side right here too. For now, that's how much I want to add in. Okay, so now that everything is getting pretty dry, what we're going to do is some fun stuff, extra fun. So again, taking our number 6 filbert. This is a Christy Rice brush. I will link it below as well in case you want to check it out. Fabulous, fabulous brushes that she has. This is part of a set. So now I'm just going to grab some more concentrated colors. Before I do that, haha, just kidding. We're going to do the middles. Oh man, I like to do the middles first of all, and that's going to let us know where to put the petals. So how about that? It doesn't have to be precise, just where you're feeling it. Kind of balancing it out that way. And I'm doing a dark color, but you can do a lighter color if you wanted to. They're often lighter colors, but this is art, right? So we do it how we want to. And once you add your centers in, you're going to start to see, okay, I can see how this is a hydrangea. You're starting to see that kind of come together really nicely. At least for me, it really helps to define everything. So those middles are wet. We're going to dry them, and I'll be right back. Grabbing that pink paint here. And really, you're just going to start doing 4 petal shapes. I'm going to do one here, one on the side, one over here, and then a little whoop. Grab some more. And you can even do like just a few petals, because now we're going to start to, you know, add in some different spaces where you've got the full bloom, and then you've got some petals that you're just seeing from the side, okay? So, and I want to do maybe some variation of pinks with this one, and then this one a little bit more bright, vibrant, rainbowy colors. So dip in the correct place. And then we've got my red. I'm gonna do some over here too. That's not pink, but anyway, in that family, pink, red kind of thing. So remember, you can do the side. You can press down with the side, do a skinny petal, or you can press down with the full broad side of the brush. And within that pink, grabbing a little bit of that oranginess for some peachy times. I do these really fast. I don't think too much about them. So that's why. I do it fast, so I don't think too much about them. And it just gives me a little bit, for me, a better experience. But you know, you go at the pace that feels correct for you. And I want you guys, as you're thinking about, okay, not painting every day. Now Tammy is saying not to paint every day, even though she was saying to paint every day before. And I'm saying, like, you know, you do what you want, but be intentional. And if there's, say you want to paint every day and then you don't get to it, like, don't beat yourself up about that. That doesn't increase anything except your frustration with the process. I don't want that for you. And we're doing some more saturated here, just kind of filling in those spaces with these cute little brush strokes, letting them kind of stick out more if you'd like, just like that, until you're satisfied with the whole presentation of your flower. Sometimes we don't know when to stop. So yes, paint when you feel like it, paint when it floats your boat and makes you happy. Super important. So we've got some sticking out. It's not this just, you know, flat cone shape that, you know, doesn't alter. It's a fluid experience. It's not just like specifically, okay, a little bit here, a little bit there. I like it when the blooms sort of pop out and get a little crazy. So this one we're gonna do a little bit more kind of a rainbowy look. So bright pink coming up, first of all. Yeah, treating your watercolor experience like a hobby can be a really healthy way to look at it too. Because when someone has a hobby and they practice it, the idea is that they're really on board. They love their hobby. They love to engage in it when they have time. They love to tell people about it as well. And I don't really see people stressed out about a hobby. Now, if you are trying to make this into a business and you are just not quite there yet, remind yourself, like, you are just starting out. Think of it as a hobby situation that you are trying to improve for business purposes, but let's call it what it is as we're first starting out. If you can keep those stressful thoughts away, you're not going to be putting so much pressure on yourself, if that makes sense. So we're still continuing with that same process here. I'm going to grab some yellow now and add that in, and you can see it's not a rainbow flower, but it's definitely more intense than the other one, getting some more brighter concentrations. We've got just warm colors at this point, and I'm gonna add in a little bit of purple, because why not? Pretty concentrated paint. So, and we can allow these to kind of stick out as well. And, you know, along the lines of hobby, I do want to encourage you guys, lastly, to think of this as your self-care. And with self-care, we do the things we need to take care of ourselves when we feel like it. And if we don't feel like it, we don't necessarily do it. And we don't usually, well, sometimes we stress about it, but don't stress about it. Keep it in the same vein of, you know, I'm doing this because I love it, because it brings me happiness and peace and calm. And like I said, bottom line, let's leave anxiety out of the equation. All right, blobbing on some green gold. And some over here, a little bit of a highlight. So let's do some splatter with that green gold as well. Just a little bit to brighten up the picture. And at this point too, if you'd like to add in more middles, you can. It's really up to you. All right, guys, thank you so much for doing this video with me today. I want to remind you that I'm on Patreon for as little as $3 a month. going up from there, different tiers. There's different exclusive content that is available that helps to increase your watercolor journey. So if you'd like to be a member, it's linked down below. And if you haven't heard, my watercolor brushes are going to happen. So we got the samples and everything ordered, or they shall be ordered soon. And those will hopefully be here soon for me to test out, but I am so excited. There's so many fun things coming. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your support. You guys made it happen because you voted, so I appreciate you all. I will see you soon on the next tutorial. Happy painting and happy mental health.